Hi guys, this is Breaker and I am back with another replay that I took from Casted as part of day one of my, or excuse me, not day one, but phase one of my daily. And in the upper left hand corner we have spawning as our Zerg in the red trunks, mYi Evaner. In the lower right hand corner, spawning as our Protoss in the blue trunks, his name is FrashQ. Alright, so I figured I'd go ahead and take the time that we have now in the opener to go ahead and discuss, like, what people typically think of, how I tell them, I'm a caster, that kind of thing. Superficially speaking, I am, like, a part-time caster, I guess you could say. That is the best way to describe me. I am paid for some events, but most of these events take place in China, Taiwan. So the only real detriment to a human being with this is perhaps, the amount of sleep someone gets. I remember the Neo TV Star League I casted for free last year because, of course, they didn't have time to budget me in, and I went to their website and asked them, okay, so do you guys need an English caster? And I was like the only foreigner to actually ask anyone if they needed an English caster for the NSL, and they're like, sure, yeah, we'll take you, that's great. And they were actually willing to pay money to a guy that could show up in person. Like, we're talking people who were studying abroad in Shanghai for whatever, or they were just studying Chinese language there or something of that nature, which I think is a total hack. You shouldn't go to a school to study a foreign language. You should instead just, study it on your own and find someone who's at least highly literate to help you learn. Also maybe help you find someone who speaks English to help you learn, but of course that's a completely different thing. Anywho, Evaner comes in here and just kind of screws around with the probes here. And with that, we see FrashQ essentially going with a Forge first and getting a Pylon down. Actually, double mind games, I guess you could say. Looks like we have Evaner getting his natural hatch down at about the same time that we see the Nexus finishing or getting started. So both at the same exact time almost. It's actually very strange. Now, I mean, yes, back to the perception of what people think when I say, okay, this is what I do with my spare time. This is what I do for money on the side. This is what I want to do sort of for a career. I typically, I had to get this across to my professors. I have to tell them I am a caster. That means I'm a 播报员. My major is Chinese, by the way. So that's what I had to tell her. And, I think she understood it. She says, but you were playing games last night until 6 o'clock in the morning. I said, I wasn't playing games, I was casting games. I had to stay up, I had to talk about the games, I had to give commentary on the games, that kind of thing. It's a little difficult. It's like asking Day 9 what he does for a living, except for him it would be much more viable to call it a living. For me it's just like, I guess you'd call it side money, because right now it's definitely not a viable source of my main income. And of course we do have the standard opener coming from both players. Nexus versus 3 hatches. And let's see when this thing got started. That was 50 seconds ago, so that means 4 minutes, 20-something seconds. That's pretty timely, I would imagine. We also have a pair of links coming out now for Evaner, and he's just got the map with that. Of course, keeping the eye out for any such silly shenaniganry. He already has a link over here, he already has a link over here. He just wants to make sure that, I guess with the occupation of those Xel'Naga Watchtowers, he's actually ensuring that there's not going to be any proxy plays like Twilight Councils or Dark Shrines really, really close to his base. Or even a Stargate, if that makes sense. But speaking of a Stargate, but it's going to be right here. Not a proxy Stargate, but a Stargate. I find that a lot of Protosses are actually going with this opener in the PvZ matchup. The biggest detriment I see, the only problem with it that I see at all, is that if a Zerg takes no damage from a Phoenix opener, we're talking loses no queens, no overlords whatsoever, then we will actually see our Protoss considerably far behind. Now, the Overlord did come in here, but it did not see the Stargate. It just came in here, it saw this much, and that's it. So we're actually going to see, I think, Evander in a position to take a good deal of hurt if he is not careful in the near future. We just need to see the Phoenixes move out in the right direction and hope that they attack before he has a chance to react. Meanwhile, Evander is going for his Roach Warren, looking more and more like Stefano Roach style, but this one was started about 40 seconds ago. I mean, 6:55. I'm gonna say that's an okay timing, and considering the fact that we are oversaturated on a couple of bases and we still see probes in the makes, I am willing to guess that we are going to see FrashQ take this into a third base. There's also other things to account for this very low amount of infrastructure. Not so many gateways. There are 3 in production right now, as well as a robotics bay. Now the question is, when are these Phoenixes going to move out? And will they be followed up with, say, a Void Ray or something of that nature? Meanwhile, we already have, it seems, Evander just, he's going at this blind. He's thinking to himself, okay, well, I haven't taken any damage yet. And I look into this as he's going to be sending either DTs or Phoenixes. DTs are a much larger investment with a lot more potential to do damage, and at the same time, a lot more potential to do no damage. And there it is, the Phoenixes have moved out. Now, Evander is perfectly aware of what's up. He's going to go ahead and throw down a Spore Crawler, an additional Spore Crawler, it looks like, at the third. The main, the natural, look like they'll be okay. The question is, can these Phoenixes get the Queen here? It looks like they will, maybe, yes, and this one doesn't have enough energy for a transfuse. We now have 11 Roaches in production, along with Glio Reconstitution on the way for Evander. Oh, but he's got to pull these Phoenixes, he's got to, oh man, FrashQ pulling them just at the right time. And now I think it would be more than a good idea for him to go ahead and find as many Overlords as possible that are caught out of position, but at the same time, okay, I like this move by Evander. He doesn't have Overlord speed, but somehow he kept them all in the right positioning to keep them from taking damage. The best thing to do, I feel, is to simply spread your Overlords as best you can, and then once you actually run into Phoenixes, then you can start researching pneumatic carapace and get them out of there just easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, I do need to highlight that the amount of damage we've seen done is pretty... it's not colossal, but at the same time, it will do the job. Protoss gearing up to take the third, and it looks like we got Zerglings moving in here. This is really big! Are we going to see FrashQ react to this in time? I mean, there's a huge window of opportunity for those Lings to do a run-by. Rock's gone down. Oh man, if Evander could see what we could see right now. But it looks like we've got these Phoenixes just parked over here. There it is! A bunch of Lings just got into the natural. And it looks like the sentries are throwing down their force fields left and right. Probes are going to take damage now. This is actually going to be pretty big. But they've been pulled to deal with that, and they will deal with that. There will still be more than enough probes left over to fully saturate, and now we have the force fields going down at the front line, and it looks like the Phoenixes are lifting up the Roaches, while the Colossi is comfortably in back, sniping as many as it can. 7 kills on it already. Oh man, so this is, I want to say, a still valid window of opportunity for our Zerg to do damage, and it looks like he's going to continue to try that. He's going to take down the rocks here and then try and push his way in, but we still have more than enough sentries here with force fields on them to deal with the problem. Now we have another gateway going down over here as well. Oh man, the Roaches are continuing to just hack away at the rocks behind this third. The third is already up and running. If we see FrashQ lose this, he could be in a lot of trouble. And Evander is actually, he's got that huge window of opportunity to make a lot of damage happen. He's got double, oh, he's got to face off against double Colossi. He baited the force fields and he did a damn good job of it. Now we have another huge run by going into the natural, and now the main of FrashQ. He's going to lose a lot of probes here unless he can just warp in the absolutely utmost adequate number of units that he can. Meanwhile, Evander's supply actually plummeting. He's losing a lot in terms of resources, a lot in terms of raw resources here. Probes pulled from the natural, or on the main, from the main, put at the natural, and now we have more and more probes in production. Zealots being put into the main to take care of the imminent Zergling threat. And it looks like these Phoenixes are catching on to just what's up here, but I don't know, right now, the losses are heavier for Zerg, heavier by far, no doubt, like 3-4 times heavier. But at the same time, you know, I want to say, and wow, okay, he did kill more workers. If we check the work account right now, we actually see that FrashQ is not too far behind. He can come back from this, but he needs to get that infrastructure up and running right now. We're talking gateways. He needs a lot more gateways than what he has right now. He needs maybe 3 more, I think, for everything to be fully optimal. He's got Twilight Council going down behind this. And let's see. The Phoenixes catch onto that 5th base going down. The 4th base started a considerable amount of time before that. As Zerg, it's more comfy to take this as your 3rd, this as your 4th, and so on and so forth. Oh, so here we go. The Spire is now finished up, and it looks like we are going to have 10 mutas on the way. And if we just analyze what is here so far, in terms of anti-air, we have 5 Phoenixes, 1 Stalker, and 5 Sentries. What this means is we will have to see meticulously fantastic micro from FrashQ to deal with the muta threat that is on the way. I'm a little curious, does he actually know what his opponent has? It would actually be an okay idea to throw the Phoenixes into the main to just get a glimpse. We do have the mutas gathering over here. They're kind of trying to hide from the Phoenixes, but they're actually doing a damn good job of it too. The Phoenixes are almost completely unaware. They're trying to pick up as many drones as they can here and there in between. And now behind this we actually see, what is this, the 6th base going down for our Zerg. There's a lot of Colossi, a few Stalkers thrown into the mix here, and a lot of Sentries as well, but it looks like we have Avener throwing away his main Zerg army to kind of take down what we're going to see from FrashQ. Meanwhile, a bunch of Mutalisks are coming into the mix as well. If they can take down a good deal of this infrastructure, we're going to see, I think, FrashQ in a position where he might not be able to come back from this. It'll do him no good. Oh man, that was a huge Artosis pylon right there. It'll do him no good to warp in anything back here, really, because everything would just die so quickly if it did. I think it would be a good idea to pull probes. You know, try and get them caught up with the main army ASAP, because that way, as long as you have structures remaining, you are still winning the game. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of Overlords right here. I think if these get taken down, we will see a supply block Zerg, and that will be good for FrashQ. Meanwhile, supply blocking, speaking of, we have FrashQ going through one right now. There's a bunch of cannons here as well. I think what we could see is once they're finished, maybe get the probes to surround them and get them put on hold position. Avener is stuck at 146 supply out of 116. FrashQ at 141 out of 158. I think we're going to see FrashQ slowly but surely prevail over this, because Avener just doesn't have quite what it takes to really prevail, and the Mutalist count is kind of growing, it's kind of shrinking, it's kind of falling, it's kind of everywhere right now. Now all the cannons are almost gone except for this one here at the north spot at the natural, and now we have FrashQ in a position where he is willing to go ahead and take down whatever his opponent has. Meanwhile, the Zealots are just chomping away at the infrastructure, the tech in the main of our Zerg. FrashQ continuing to take this to his opponent as best he can, but he doesn't have any probes left over, I think. He's got 3. Where are they? They're all mining gas. There's one more in the main. Okay, good. This one managed to catch up with his main army, so we're going to see this get extended just a little bit longer, as long as we see FrashQ using his reflexes as he should. The Phoenix is trying to take down the Mutas. As long as they can nibble away at 1 or 2 here and there, they will be just fine. Avener at 84 supply out of 86. And FrashQ out at about 107 out of 108. Doesn't even... Oh, man. It doesn't even... I just don't know how this is going to go. I mean... Oh, man. Where's that other probe? There's 2 left in the main, and that is it. Once they are taken down, we're going to see, essentially, FrashQ be stuck on trying to make 1 and 1 only as best he can. This Nexus is about to fall, and when it does, we will see our Protoss being revealed. Meanwhile, the Zealots trying to hack away at whatever they can find here, and it looks like this is the most important, most quintessential part of the puzzle that has not been scouted yet by FrashQ. Meanwhile, he's going to come back home and try and deal with the threat that's here. There we go. FrashQ has not rebuilt their base and is being revealed. I'm thinking we could see Evener with a good chance here. As long as he just continues to micro correctly, he may be able to prevail up over this. And it's really going to come down to the Mutalisks, I think. They're the biggest threat right now for our Protoss. As long as we see FrashQ using his Phoenixes wisely, he'll be able to take them down. Muta's desperately trying to hack away at whatever they can in the third here, trying to take down what they can, trying to be microed versus these Phoenixes. And I just think this is a fight that we're going to see Evener just not able to really prevail against. You know, he's catching a few small units out in the open here and there, but the biggest threat right now is the Mutas, or his own Mutas, which are then countered by the Phoenixes here. Meanwhile, Zealots hacking away. Yeah. 23 HP Larva, takes almost no damage. And right now we see the Phoenixes chasing down whatever they can from Zerg. I want to say that in this situation, it might have been an okay idea for our Zerg to make a few Corruptors to deal with the Phoenixes. It certainly would have been. And now here we go. Zerg is going to be scouted here. Is there a probe left? There is one left, and it is right here. Okay, so what is it going to build? Is it going to make a Nexus over there? Is it perhaps going to stay with the army here? Looks like there's nothing left to be built. We're going to see our Zerg getting revealed in just a few moments. Now we have to see FrashQ build something, essentially, and that's what he's going to do. Now we have only one drone left. And it's actually, wow. Okay, so it's actually qualifying as a... Oh, okay, never mind. I see. It's back in the main. Alright, so now it's rebuilding a hatchery. And we see Evener in an increasingly desperate situation as he has only 30 supply to that of his opponent's 99. Alright, so there we go. The Zealots have scouted that hatchery, and now it seems like we're gonna have to have FrashQ, like, not really, he doesn't really have to react to this, he knows what's up. And now we have another drone coming out, and it's probably gonna get taken to a more remote location to be turned into a hatchery, but this one is going to fall really, really soon. And he's still got a spire somewhere. Over here. He's going to have another hatch very soon as well. And it looks like we're going to have FrashQ, I think, in a position where he's slowly but surely able to macro up behind this. Fortunately, all of these Lings are now dead. Every single piece of his, army is extremely precious, and now the only thing that's left on the map, besides a couple of drones, is going to be these Phoenixes. Evener is now rebuilding his base. No. Now he is. And he's got two hatches in the makes right now. One of them is in the main. The other one is going to be at what was before his 5th base. And we're going to see Evener just basically trying poking away at his opponent as best he can. I don't, presently I just can't see this working out too much. He's going to get a couple of Zealots here. Zealots picked up on the Spire here. As long as that Spire is there, we're going to see the ability to make Mutas as a possibility. But right now we don't really have a hatchery that's already finished and ready to go to make more Mutas. Behind this, we do see that the Mutas are coming back over here for Evener, and he's going to try and come down on FrashQ. He's actually doing a damn good job of harassing here and there. The Phoenixes will come back, and the Phoenixes are the biggest threat right now to those Mutas. There it is. The Mutas are going to fall. This is going to be the penultimate engagement in the game, guys. This is it. Right here. Phoenixes don't even need micro. There it is, the GG from Evener. Ladies and gentlemen, that was certainly one of the most interesting games I've ever seen. One of the more interesting base trade scenarios that I've ever seen. If you guys would so kindly, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. And if you would so kindly, just go ahead and check out my most previously uploaded video of Liquid Teja versus Jung Sickness. It was actually a very, very interesting game as well. And you guys will be more than entertained to watch that one.